Welcome back to the Shine and Thrive Photography podcast. And today I have an episode that is going to satiate those of you that are nerds about energy, like spirituality, numerology, manifestation, anything to do with energy, and fusing it into how you can actually get creative in your business by utilizing the different energies that pop up throughout the year coming up in 2024 into how to just like be in tune with where other people are at, how to know how to communicate with them about your services, how to get creative with new offers. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited that like I met Sheetal at the business conference I went to about 2 months ago now. And I'm so excited to introduce you to her. And for those of you that are like even a bit skeptical about this topic of numerology, energy, how it can affect us and how we even get creative in our businesses. I would say like even just like get curious, open up your mind to it. She does a really good job of even mentioning just some more logical sides to it that make a lot of sense that I think will make you think like, okay, I can actually see how that could be true. Because at the end of the day, we are all energy. Everything is made up of energy. You know, maybe 200, 300, no, probably more. Let's say 1,000 years ago, if you would tell someone that they can turn on a machine and they can hear like a person talking from the other side of the world, they might think that person's crazy. That's not possible. But then yet we like tune into a radio, right? We tune into the exact frequency we need to tune into in order to listen to a certain radio station, or we dial a phone number to reach a specific phone and person. Like this stuff is already all around us. And so if you don't really believe in things like numerology and all of that, just get curious. And at the end of the day, if it's a tool that doesn't resonate with you, that's totally cool. But I think it would be maybe useful to get curious about it instead of say, oh, it's not true, it's not real, it doesn't exist. Maybe get curious about it, and instead of saying it's not real, it doesn't exist, maybe we can say, okay, maybe that's a tool that works for others, but not me. And then and then you can just move on with your life and find tools that work for you. But just remember, you don't know what you don't know. And so curiosity can go a long way, and also being open-minded can go a long way. So I learned a lot on this episode. I'm not new to feeling drawn to energy and spirituality and that kind of world, and approaching things from that place, and like injecting that kind of approach into my business, like law of attraction as well. I'm definitely not new to that, but I am new to astrology and really actually paying more attention to it to understand how the energy is of this day or this month of this year, what themes come up. And for the past 6 weeks, I've been really taking into account the energy of the day astrology wise. I've just been reading a little short thing on an app that I have. And I have to say, things have been so aligned, and I've used it as a tool. Like when something pops up in the day for me, I'm like, oh my gosh, it did say that something in this topic could come up. And then I know how to react to it instead of being more, I'm more proactive instead of reactive to it. And then I'm more like, oh, this is just how the energy is today. It doesn't mean that my life is doomed or this day is doomed. Do you know what I mean? So it's been really helpful, and I'm really still new to this world. And so I talked to Sheetal like a curious little student, and I asked questions, and a lot of ideas came up for even just like how to market your business, and even a new photography niche that I never even thought about just like came through from her. And I'm like, this is a genius idea and something that the world definitely needs. So tune in, there's so much value. And I'm just going to read I'm going to read you her amazing bio, and then we'll get started with you listening to the episode. So Sheetal is a psychic medium, professional certified astrologer, grief support counselor, and a law of attraction master coach. While she also has a business degree and comes from a corporate background, her heart has always been helping people move through grief and transitions. She now teaches people how to cultivate and trust their intuition, overcome grief, self-sabotage, and obstacles to live a fulfilling life that aligns to their cosmic design. I'm so excited for you to dive into this episode. Enjoy. Hi, Sheetal. Oh my gosh. Welcome to the podcast. I'm so excited to chat.
It is so nice to see you again, Sarah. It feels like forever ago, but it really wasn't that long since I last saw you.
Yeah, but actually, it's now almost 2 months. It's like
Almost two
that's
months.
crazy. Oh my gosh.
I
That's
know.
so crazy. I wanted to, so everybody tuning in, I wanted to start off this episode just like quickly sharing like how Shital and I met. And wait, I want to make sure I have your name right. Is it Shital or Shital?
Sheetal.
Shital. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Okay, good. I'm like a stickler when it comes to people's names because it's
Yeah.
like the sweetest sound to people's ears. And it's just like, yeah, just make a little extra effort and then they feel that much more, seen and cared for. So,
And your name is your calling card in your life. Like it is your vibrational frequency. So when
ooh.
you are named, there is an energy that creates that is you, just uniquely you. So it's very interesting when people go through name changes or the way that a name sounds or nicknames, that energy of that, like as a psychic, if you were to give me your name, even before I meet you, I know Sarah Monica is super sensitive, super sweet, likely very caring and detailed. Like I can just tell from the name the frequency of someone. So even just think about that. If you have any nicknames or you were called something in childhood and you're called something now, feel the energy of that name and you'll notice like massive. It's interesting as a psychic, you just pick up on that. So names are so important. So thank you for getting my name right.
Oh my gosh. I've never ever heard of that before. My nickname, Polish nickname growing up was Sarunia in Polish.
Oh,
And
so
it's just
cute.
this little like cute little like
But sassy Sarunya,
oh
right?
really?
She's not taking that crap from Noah. Sarunya, right? It's not Sarah, it's Sarunya. Like
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
special, right?
Oh, that's so funny.
Interesting. I feel like you'd be a spicy child.
Uh, I feel like yes, I definitely went through a rebellious phase for sure in high
Thanks,
school. But
thanks,
before
Sarunya.
that, I was like sweet because I felt like I had to be. And
Mm-hmm.
that's very interesting. Hmm.
Names.
Wow. Okay, well, where was I going with this? Oh yeah, I was really excited just to share with you all like where we met quickly and how we met and how synchronistic it was. Like, so we met at the conference that I told you guys I was going to in California, BBD Live with our mentor James Wedmore. And this was beginning of December 2023. Yes, 2023.
That's right.
And I that weekend before I went in, I told myself I am so open to just the law of synchronicity and just synchronicities happening. I'm going to flow through people. I'm not going to judge who I'm meeting, why be overthinking in my head. I'm just going to be like, oh, I meet you. Cool. We're just like vibing. Oh, wait, we like, um, what's it called? Like our paths crossed again. That's interesting, right? So that's how I remember us meeting because I remember it was like late at night. It was like maybe day one of the conference or something. And it
That's
was
right.
like 11:30 p.m. I'm like, I am starving. I need to get pizza. So I went to the bar, ordered pizza. Then finally, when I was ready, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna take it up to my room because it's late. We gotta wake up in the morning and I need to relax. So I go into the elevator and out of no normally when I went to the elevator, it's kind of like people are chatting but like it's kind of like there's upbeat energy or like more like just neutral energy. No one really wants to talk and like shy energy. But I walked into this elevator and Shital was one of the people in there. And it was just these like 4 or 5 women, just lively energy, laughing. I'm like, this is my kind of crew. This is amazing. And because you were also like open and like had so much energy, I ended up being like open with my energy. And so I don't even know what it was, but I remember I had a
Pizza.
pizza that
Yeah.
literally when I ordered it at the bar, it was called fungi because I like mushroom pizza. And I'm like, oh, fun guy. Haha, that's funny. Like a fun guy. And in the in the elevator, I just said to you all, I'm like, hey guys, I'm going upstairs to have fun with my fungi pizza or something. And then you all just like died
And the
laughing.
conversation went totally sideways after that. I do remember some very R-rated
Oh,
comments,
really?
and we were laughing about the fungi and pizza and sausage party and all the things.
Ah!
And so yeah, it was so interesting. And then so the other side of the story is I had come in not knowing anyone from BBD, and for me was I just wanted to meet the most amazing people. I'm an extrovert through and through, and I just love meeting people who are on their own spiritual journey and their entrepreneurial journey, and just let the right people find me and the path align. And the first day when I got there on, I think it started on Friday, right? And
Mhm.
so I got there on Thursday night, and those of us who are in another program together, Brendan Lacero's program. It's now called NGM, but it's about messaging. And so anyone from Brandon's group that was there, someone put out a message on Facebook that said, let's meet early and have drinks. So we did, and we all just got along. Like, it was wild. And these like five women, I'm one of the five, we just hit it off. And it's just wild energy of like laughing and introspection. And I'm an astrologer, so I'm like, what's your birth time? And then like, oh, your human design. And then we started talking about you, and it just like this energy that just started to spiral upward. It was so much fun. And we just all sat together after that. And I noticed you the first day because you sat in the row behind me, I think it
Oh,
was. And
interesting.
I saw
Yeah.
you sitting there, and I was like, oh, I notice energy. So
Yeah.
I just noticed you being this buoyant soul. You were always willing to like put up your hand and share, and just so lovely. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. I just notice energy. And
Mhm.
then you walked into the elevator. I'm like, oh, this is interesting. And then that energy in that elevator was like higher than high, right? Like
Yeah.
you can't help but like that. And then you just volunteered that it was a fungi pizza. And one of the girls was like, oh my God, I wanted to try that. And then you're like, I'm going to have fun with my fun guy.
Yeah.
And then Carol Jean just took it into a whole other realm, which I just jumped on. And so it was so much fun. And then after that, the next day, you're sitting behind me, and I'm like, hi,
Yeah.
Sarah, how's it going? And then we just started
Yeah.
talking, and then we both joined Next Level together. And then it's just been, I think,
Yeah.
serendipity since, really.
Totally. I remember, yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, like that's the friendly, happy, amazing energy face that I met yesterday. And I'm like, you're from the elevator.
Yeah.
And wait, so tell me, did you sit in the same spot like but all days in
Except for
the
the last day, I moved up a
okay.
row. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like I was like tuning into my intuition, training it while we were at the conference. And the second day, I'm like, do I go out of my comfort zone and sit somewhere totally different, or do I go back to the same spot? And normally I'm like, I'll lean into discomfort, but something is telling me just stay in the
Stay
same
put.
spot, just stay in the same spot. And one of the things something told me, like, if you want to be like noticed and recognized by your mentor, like there's 950 people in the audience. Imagine if you always stay in the same spot, you're always raising your hand, you're gonna be like noticed, right? So
Mhm.
like I personally like I don't know, I like to be a fucking A plus student. It's just so
Me
it's
too.
for the reason that it motivates me. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Because if I'm noticed, that gives me accountability and I want to like make decisions that are aligned with me and what I want first and foremost. But then I do want that golden star and be like, hey, my
I
mentor
do.
noticed I did a good job, right? So
I
I'm
do
like, you know what?
too.
I'm gonna sit in the same spot. So I was like, oh, that's cool that we also sat in the same spot, like area all the whole
Mhm.
time. But
The whole time I sat
yeah.
in, yeah. And I'm a creature of habit because it creates safety for me. So I
Hmm.
like to be in the same spot and then learn about my neighbors. And of course, there's a few people that'll move and whatever. But
Yeah.
the girls that we met from that, that first night, we all kind of started to just love to be in each other's energy. And then the conversations and stuff, I was like, this is golden. I'll save you
Yeah.
seats because like I had the VIP.
Yeah.
So I would save seats for all of them. And then the second or the last day, I had an opportunity to move up a row, and it really contemplated it because I learned like all the people behind me. But I'm like, no, if I'm close to the stage, there might be a different energy. Like,
Yeah.
let's do it. So we did move up that last week, that last day into the row ahead of us, but it felt weird because I was just like I missed all of the
Oh,
like
that's
I
so
got to meet
funny.
all the people behind me, and like
Yeah.
people are creatures of habit, so very
Mhm.
rarely do people move
It's
around. So
true. Yeah.
it's interesting.
It was very helpful having that VIP because I also paid for the VIP access. I'm like, as soon as I saw, if you want an hour early access to like and get the best seats out of like 1,000 seats, I'm like, yes. because
Yes,
I don't want to be stuck in the
in the
back and
back.
the energy is
Yeah.
just different. And
Yeah.
so I'm so happy we both thought that way.
It's it. And the VIP, I find, always pays you back
Oh,
dividends,
dividends.
right?
Yeah. 10
And so
times.
even those panelists, things that they had at lunch for us, which we, as
Yeah.
VIPs, we got our own lunch, which also saved money, in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
And then we also got the panelists. That was a kind of a bonus that James had thrown in. And one of those panelist interviews like changed my life from there. So
Oh,
because it was the membership panelist, right?
yeah.
Where they were
Yeah.
talking about memberships. And the one that blew my mind, I know it's a little bit off topic for what we're
No,
going
that's
to be
fine.
talking about today, but the one that blew my mind was the one who has the animal photography membership,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
right? And it was
Yeah.
like, I think $17 a month, $27, and it's like $1.2 million annual revenue. And I was like, what is possible when we
Yeah.
just open our minds to, that you have something to offer that people are really needing, you're being
Mhm.
of service, and you're just calling in all the people that are ready. I was ready to close my membership down because I was like, well, I don't know if this is ever gonna be the impact that I want to be in the world. And
Mhm.
when I saw that, I was like, oh, what's possible? What
Oh,
is possible? So it
that's why I
takes
love
it.
having these conversations on the podcast. It's just like when we can share our how we're expanding, other people can be like, wait, that's possible. I didn't even know that. And then
Yes.
they can expand and we can all expand together. That's why I'm obsessed with these conversations. And yeah, so thank you for also sharing that because I know that someone listening to this is like, wait, what? And again,
Yeah.
that was just like an expansive moment of a $17 offer, a $1.2 million business. What? You know?
What?
Yeah,
And it's helping people take better pictures of their pets. That's it.
exactly.
It's not, you
The
don't have to
ripple
have a,
effect.
right, like, but it's not like you have to be a professional or you have to
Yeah.
have a proper camera, that
Mhm.
you can just be there and helping people who are loving their pets, right? I mean, that's like a billion-dollar industry with pets. And then
Yeah.
the other one was a recipe. Do you remember? She had
Yes.
recipes, and one thing
Oh,
that blew my mind,
was it the
Nicole.
helping people save money on groceries?
That was another, that was,
Oh,
yes, I think that was her too. Yeah,
yeah.
there's another girl. There was three of them, but the
Mhm.
one with the recipes, she does recipes, and it's 3 month like a cycling of recipes. And I thought that was blew my mind because I have 1 year's worth of of content that I was
Yeah.
like, well, can I cycle it again? Will they want it a year from now? She's like, oh yeah, 3 months they get the same recipe. And I'm like, retention rate is like through the roof. She gets zero churn. And I was like, wow, that is what's possible. You just build
Yeah.
up all these kind of obstacles in your mind thinking this is not possible for me, or oh, I have to do it this way. And when we go and hang out with other entrepreneurs or other photographers or other people doing what we're doing, they have other ways of doing things that
Mhm.
opens your mind up to possibilities that then can amplify your life, right? So worth it every time. VIP
Yeah.
every time,
I
it'll
know,
be worth
right?
it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh my
so great.
gosh. I love our story of how we met. And now I'm excited to like get into this podcast topic. So everybody listening, I am so very still like new to numerology, to astrology. So I'm going to be here learning with you. I'm going to be asking the questions that are probably going to come up in your mind. And I'm going to let Sheetal like just take the driver's seat of this because she's the expert. And I'm just so excited to learn alongside with you. So where we're going to get started. So in general, Sheetal's going to help us understand the energy of 2024, and how we can use it as a tool in our favor for our businesses to become more profitable, and how we can even strategically market our services to people at different times of the year differently that aligns with the energy of that time of the year. Mind blowing. I'm so excited to like dive into this and discover it. And I think where we're going to get started is Sheetal's going to take us through numerology of the 8th year.
Mhm.
And she's going to explain that. So I think maybe start off, Sheetal, by explaining what is an 8th year for the collective. And then just, yeah, take it away and however it flows for you.
I love it. Well, I'm gonna backtrack a little bit to something
Sure.
you said, and it's that we're going to see the energies throughout the year. So astrology is just about the energy that is flowing onto this planet at every given moment, right? We are energetic beings having this human experience on this rock that's hurtling through space. And we have this beautiful solar system, and everything is energy in this world. So the more we understand what energies are presenting in our life, the more we can flow with that energy versus fighting it, right? So even when you said, we can use this energy to meet our client, to market and sell our products, but we can also use the energy to meet people where they're at, right? And this is why the way I use it is that I know that certain times of the year, people are really going to be struggling with different themes or topics in their life or energies that are coming onto this planet. And if you don't believe me that this happens and it affects you, ask yourself, how does it feel around a full moon? Do you notice yourself going a little crazy? And then you're like, oh, and someone goes, oh, it's a full moon today. And you're like, oh my God, what does that mean? It's
That's
because
why we got into that fight.
yeah, that's exactly it. All of my clients are mostly women, and astrology clients, when they come and see me for the year, they every year, once a year, a lot of my clients will come and see me, and they get a printout of their transits for the year, which is the aspects that are happening in their life specifically for them. And it's really interesting because they'll track it throughout the year and they'll go, oh, I thought I was having my period, but really it was a Mars transit, right? And it's
Yeah.
like we just like to blame our poor hormones, like our poor womb. It's not always to blame for our craziness, right? But there are other aspects that are happening in the world, energy that's coming onto this planet, and it's so interesting for me. It's a giant experiment to see if this is true or not. Right. I'm
Hmm.
actually the biggest skeptic. And you're like, but you talk to dead people. I'm like, yep, that's right. And you have to prove that this is true. How do I know this stuff about your Aunt Mary in
Hmm.
spirit? Why would I know anything about her? None of this is in Google. So it's
Yeah.
like that kind of evidence shows you that like this is real.
Yeah.
And when we look at the transits and we look at what's happening in the world, and like even with COVID, astrologers knew something was happening that year in March 2020 when everything blew up here in North America. There was massive transits that were happening at that time that were like life changing. So we knew it was either going to be a war, a pandemic, or something big happening, right? And of
Mm.
course, it turned out to be a pandemic. So when we start to understand energy and what these kind of markers are, we are energetic beings having this human experience. And if you don't believe me, ask your doctor to measure your heart. He doesn't like just listen. He has to use an EKG monitor, which is measuring the energy and vitality of your heart,
Yeah.
right? Or you can understand the frequency of your brain through an EEG monitor and understanding the frequency and what's happening of your brain. So when
Hmm.
your body is healthy, it has a certain resonance or frequency, and when your body is unhealthy, we start to fall into dissonance, or our energy levels are not as high. So you start to feel tired. We start to have emotional issues. You're stuffing your emotions down into your socks, right? And you start to get back pain and all of these pains. Your body is a vessel that holds the energy of things that you are not willing to look at. And
Hmm.
that body, this vessel, this energy has an energetic signature that was created at the time that you're born. So when you took your first breath into this planet, your body emerged from your mother's, and now that energy is captured in you and your natal chart. So we can actually look at that, right? There is this frequency, this energy that makes up Sarah Monica, and that energy is now your signature for the rest of your life. So when then planets are moving through the zodiac and then amplifying or kind of creating challenge to your energy, you then will feel those themes in your life that will then manifest in your life in certain way. But as I was talking to you before we started this, is that that energy has opportunity. You can create challenges or create opportunities for yourself depending on how you use the energy. So I always say astrology, I have a weekly forecast that goes out on my channels, and I always say it's the astro forecast. It's just the weather, and you get to be
Hmm.
prepared for the weather. Put on the rain jacket and put on get the umbrella
Yeah.
out, or go out in the rain and go, oh my God, I can't believe it's raining. Like that's what happens to 95% of the population in the world, where they're like, oh, astrology isn't real and numerology isn't real, and then they're like surprised that somebody is, they've been served divorce papers, and like, well, it's very evident in your life in many ways that this was likely going to come up for you or you've been avoiding it. So where I think have an eclectic set of skills is I have the energy part of it, of being a psychic medium and a professional astrologer, and a human design coach. And then I also have, and the manifestation piece. And then I also have the grief support counseling. I have the psychology, and I also have a business degree. So I have the practical and the spiritual. And I think like you and I really vibe on that, because
Yeah.
it's got to make practical sense, right? It's
Yes.
got to make logical. How do I use this? You can't
Hmm.
just talk about all this energy and then I don't know what you're saying. So I feel like I'm a spiritual translator or universal
Yeah.
translator of the energy. And I think numerology is a wonderful way to understand energy that puts things into practical sense. So, energy, we are living in a world of frequency and vibration, and numbers have frequency, right? So, they
Hmm.
are numbers. They are, I mean, we measure things with
Oh
that
wait, can I,
numbers.
before you go there, can
Yeah.
I pause? Because it's like it's not leaving my head to
Yes.
mention this, because I love how you went into satiating the logical mind through examples, scientific examples, right, of energy.
Yes.
Another one that comes to mind is, if people are skeptical of the moon having an effect on us, our energy or emotion, well, how would you describe the moon having an effect on the tides of the ocean?
Exactly.
And if we are 70%, is it 70% water in our bodies?
If
Something
you're
like that.
hydrating. Yeah.
If you're hydrated, that's a good point. Yeah. Oh shit, I think I'm at 44 right now. I
Yeah.
think I need
Yeah.
some water. Yeah. But then of course, like it has some sort of effect. It's just like, yeah. People say,
Of
oh,
course it
the
does.
tide, the moon, like it's nighttime, the moon is out, the tide is out, like, right? So
Mm-hmm.
if
No,
that helps anybody, just be like, okay, yeah, I can see what you're saying. Okay, so
I
sorry to
love that you
interrupt.
said that.
Go
And
about
just
numerology. Yeah.
I definitely will. And
Yeah.
like to your point, when we say in astrology, the moon is the first cosmic force that is affecting you in the waters of your mother's womb. So you will feel her energy, you will feel the energy of the moon. And there's lots of scientific studies about how the energy of the mother impacts the baby prenatally. So that energy as a little baby in the water in the womb, you don't have your senses of your eyes, but you can hear, you can feel. You're
Yeah.
so sentient as a baby in the womb. And so the energies of what was happening to you in that time before you were born actually imprints in you as well. So we can see that in
Wow.
astrology in the 12th house.
You
So
know,
it's
it's
super interesting.
what's something I don't think I've ever shared outside of maybe a few people in my life. I have a clear memory of me opening up my eyes in my mom's womb.
Wow.
Like I remember I like opened up my
Yeah.
eyes and I just saw like red,
Yep.
and like it was probably maybe like light outside or something, because I saw it was like very diffused, like you could tell it was bright, but it
Yeah.
wasn't. It was just red. And then I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I guess it's not time yet. And I like close my eyes back up. How, like the fact,
How
I
cool
don't
is
know.
that?
I just remember this
How cool is
vividly.
that? And and may I ask, do you have an emotion that's tied to that memory?
Oh, good question. Excitement that I
Mm-hmm.
can't wait to get out into the world and just be. And also cozy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cared for and loved. So even that energy coming in, right? Because our brain will make things mean things. Like it's so what you took as positive and exciting, there could be another baby that opened their eyes and went, I'm scared and
Yeah.
I don't like this, or I'm kind of a little nervous, and maybe would have cozied in some more.
Hmm.
So it really is, what do we make it mean? But I love that because you already knew you were loved before you were born, right?
Aw,
Like
I
you were
did feel
cozy.
that. That's very true.
So lovely. Ugh.
Aw.
And that's why, I mean, and I think that's why you exude so much of this like brightness wherever you go. It's just like this love that emanates from you. So it's
Aw.
so cute. So come back to numerology.
Yeah.
It is the measure of the energy of that frequency of that year. So the way that we calculate numerology for a year is we'll add up all the numbers of the year. So for this year, 2024, that adds up to an 8, right? 2 plus 2 plus 4. And we all are in our own personal years in numerology as well. And the way that you figure that one out is you take your birth month. So let's say I'm in September 18th. So that's a 9 month. And then you add it to the numbers of your birthday. So I would take 1 8 because I was born on the 18th. You plus add them together, 1 and 8, that's a 9. So then I add 9 and 9 together, that's 18. And then I would add 1 and 8 together, so that's a 9. And then I would add it to the 8 year. So, well, you would add them actually all to the 8-year at the same time. So you want to make every number down to one number. So it's
Yes.
numerology. There's no zero in numerology either. It's either 1 to 9.
Yeah.
So 1 year is a beginning year where you're starting things out. So it's a little bit more of a challenging year because there's an energy of initiation and you don't know what has been because you're creating it. And then there's a beautiful celebration of a 9-year where we are finishing things off, but it's also the energy of saying goodbye to things that are no longer serving you. So there's endings and celebrations and culminations. And so when we add up our own birth, I feel like I kind of muddied that a bit. So I would add the 9, the 9, so the 9 of my birth month, the 9 of my 1 and 8 added together, and then plus the 8 of this year. So that's 18 plus 8 would give me 27, right?
We cannot math.
26. That gives it 26.
Yeah.
And then 26 plus, so 2 plus 6, it's an 8-year. So it's my personal 8-year as well.
And it's
I
mine
think it's your
too.
personal 8-year too. I know. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God, girl, we
I
have
love
so
that
many
I'm always
synchronicities.
aligned with the collective because it's just like I can be in tune of what people need. Oh my God, it's exciting.
Yeah. And sometimes you are, and sometimes you aren't, I should say. Like you won't always be in tune with the collective. It's just the way that it's working right now. So it's not always going to be that way.
Yeah.
And with this year being an 8-year, so each number has its own numerological energy that goes along with it. So the energy of the collective. So it's a really kind of basic and easy way to look at numerologies of things. And each number carries its own energy and frequency. So you can even do it for your house and see what kind of house you live in. So you add up the numbers of your house and then you look up the numerology for that energy. You can actually look up the numerology for a house and figure out the energy of your house.
Wow.
So if you're born under certain, or you're living in certain houses, you will notice the energy of the houses do change because just by virtue of it being an 8 house or a 6 house or a 1 house. And they all have like one, I think it's a 4. One of the, I can't remember now, but one of the houses are like party houses. And I remember when I was going to university, one of my friends lived in a party house. And of course, it was a party house. It was people coming through there all the time. I live in a 6 house now, and it's a very grounded, family oriented. People come in with joy and leave with joy. Like there's a lot, but every numerology has its ups and its downs, right? Or its positives and its challenges. And such as also in the zodiac. Every sign has its gifts and also its challenges in its life. And such is life in the human world, right? We are here to learn and grow, and we grow through challenge and obstacles, unfortunately.
Law
Right?
of polarity.
Yeah. And so we want to, in manifestation, we call it clarity through contrast, where we're understanding what we want because we experience what we don't want. So, sort of say there's gratitude for the hard moments because it makes you really appreciate the good moments even more. They're more sweet because of it. So, it'd be lovely if we could just grow laying on a beach in Hawaii, right? But it's such as not life in human life, right? So as we're having this experience in this human experience, we can use these wonderful tools to help us really understand what are the opportunities and what's the challenges and mitigate against the challenges, but then also take on the opportunities to our fullest extent, right? So in an 8-year, I know everyone's like, what's an 8? Tell us about the 8 already. So 8 is about financial abundance, material abundance, wealth, and like all good things. It's an amplifying number. If you turn it on its side, it's an infinity sign, right? So the infinity, though, is that one feeds the other, right? It's about balance and harmony. But of course, balance is a fallacy. So it's about recalibration. So the recalibration is about the external and the internal, right? The world of the doing, the material world, and then the spiritual world of the being. And we can't have one without the other, right? If we're so much in the doing, we will burn out. And that's one of the challenges of an 8-year. So an 8-year, it brings all these opportunities and financial wealth. And the harder you work, the more money you make and all the things. And then we burn out. Right. And so it's got to have that balance before burnout hits, is that can we have holidays? Can we have white space to feel creative? Can we give ourselves time, especially with your photography? I have a lot of photography clients and they're always like, I want to shoot more. And then they're stuck and bogged down in editing and trying to get these pictures too, and trying to figure out how to, amplify the momentum on the other side with books and pictures and feature walls and things like that take time, right? And so if you don't have time in your schedule to serve all the people you photographed, now you've got a big challenge of burnout, right? So you're trying to fit it all in, and you're editing late hours in the morning because you got deadlines and all the things.
This is why
So
my community knows you outsource so you can shoot more, so you make more
yes.
money without burning out. Yep.
Yes. And if you got so much work that you've maxed out your outsource, like that is the potential of this year, right?
Mhm.
That there is more energy coming into the collective now. Especially we'll get into the astrology for this year in a moment, but the energy coming in is going to amplify and amplify. Like we're going to be going full speed ahead here right away. And that is people are going to want to go out and capture. But I think as, photographers specifically, people have moved away from that, like during the COVID years. We kind of talked about the COVID slump, and putting that back in people's minds that it's time to capture these moments.
Mhm.
That's the opportunity of this 8 year for all the beautiful photographers listening and anyone else who serves audiences, is that how can we help our people to capture these celebrations and celebratory moments, or these moments of transition, because we are moving through some big transitions in the next 2 years too. So that, the marketing of your services is really, we're so full speed ahead in the human world, right? Our brain is just like, let's just going, we're in a mini recession, we want to make as much money as we can.
Mhm.
And those moments of celebration or fun, I recently asked that question in the group, like, how do you make your challenges fun? What do you do for fun? I don't know, I'm so busy working, right? And
Yeah.
people are like, oh, this, and I'm like, oh, I'm kind of doing that, but I'm not being conscious of that. So it's the same thing with your photographers and working, is that how can we be conscious, or to help people be more conscious to celebrations, to milestone events? Your children are never going to be this age.
Mhm.
Your parents are going to pass away. I mean, you don't want to say that in your marketing,
Yeah.
but it's true. This population, there's so many people exiting this world at this point in terms of aging out, or accidents or things happening. Capture the moments while you can, right?
Yeah.
It's now. And so that's why, photos are so important, and it's such an important part of our world and of our memories, and capturing moments. Even when we're feeling down, we can look at those memories. So
Mhm.
this is a time now for everyone listening: success, achievement, material abundance. It's really a time of manifestation, and you will be rewarded for your efforts, right?
Mhm.
But there is a wound out there, and I know it well. Being the child of immigrant parents, is that the harder you work, the more money you make. And that is a surefire ticket to an ulcer or the grave, right? And so we need to then bring in the other side of this, which is balance and, self care, and doing more celebration and noticing our milestones versus just running for that carrot forever.
Yeah, definitely. That's
Mhm.
great. Great way to put it. And the fact that, wait, what did you? Oh my gosh, I went blank. It's okay. Just keep going.
So success, achievement, material abundance, and hard
Yeah.
work being rewarded are big things of an 8. So it's
Yeah.
great, because when we think about the grand scheme of things and we kind of zoom out a bit, next year is a 9 year. It's a
Mhm.
culmination year, right? Things are going to be ending. We're going to say goodbye to some people in our lives and relationships, or even saying goodbye to some offerings that you
Mhm.
might outgrow some of your business or parts of your business, or you want to go into teaching photography or coaching photographers because
Mhm.
you don't want to trade the dollars for hours anymore. And so that might be a realization that will come in this year for many, because
Mhm.
they're sort of realizing that they've had as much abundance as they desire, with they're complete with some of this parts of their gifts, and now they're ready to move into something else. Because what's coming in 2025 astrologically are big shifts, and then 2026 as a collective is a brand new 1 year.
Yeah.
So what happens after, from a 9 year to a 1 year, is like a lot of things are sort of wiped out, and the slate is cleared for new
Mhm.
things to come up, right? So if you find that you're becoming less in love with your business, or less in love with photography, and more in love with coaching or helping or mentoring, or creating space for other people to come in because you're moving into a totally different realm, perfect. You're right
Mhm.
on time. So
Mhm.
how can you amplify, and sort of, as my mom always says, makes hay while the sun shines? Do as much as you can to create this abundant self now, and put away for the future, and start to invest. Then maybe that's investing in a coaching system, or maybe investing in the stock market, or there's going to be volatility in the stock market for sure this year because of some things happening. But there are safe investments too that you can kind of put your stuff into. So yeah, it's about really capturing an abundance without burning out this year.
Yeah, I love that so much. And that makes me so happy to hear because it just gives like this hope. Like something that I'm learning a lot in RRT. Have you heard of RRT?
Yes, I have. I
Yes.
love
Okay.
RT.
Like the idea of it to me, I just realized it doesn't matter if something is truth or not to me. Like if it's useful, why not lean into it? So like those of you that are right now in the state of fear and panic around maybe not getting as many inquiries or bookings than you were used to before, let's say the pandemic or the last 2 years when there was that quick like wedding boom when everyone that couldn't get married in the pandemic did, like that happened in 2022 and last year. Um, if you continue in that state of panic and worry, my question to you, even if maybe there are small current changes in the marketplace that are not permanent, they're just for now, is that energy useful for you? And for me, it's not because it cuts off my ability to focus, to get creative, to problem solve. And when you don't have access to that, then how do you expect to market your business effectively and then find those bookings that are available? Because it's if your mind is lying to you and saying, no one out there is looking for a photographer or no one can afford that, it's just a lie because it's an absolute, it's not a fact. There are people out there and you can find them. So what I like is finding these tools and understanding things like this energy because if I hear this year the theme is abundance, but make sure that while you find this abundance, you maybe work smarter instead of harder, leverage your time effectively while making an abundant amount of money and helping people in abundance. Like, does that give me energy? I'm like, yes, that is useful to me. That gives me hope. That gives me energy. And now I feel like my creativity is unlocking. I have ideas coming in. I'm like, there's hope. Okay, I see the light at the end of the tunnel. Okay, let's go for it. Right. So forget like the like 3D state of the world right now of like, okay, there's a slight dip here. Um, because that is just for now, and down is always on the way to up. And if it's not useful, set it aside, do what you can, do what is in your control to show up. And like Sheetal said, like this is the time for you to remind others of how valuable it is for their relationships to be documented, celebrations to be documented. And you have the power to express that to others and share that and remind them. So there's so much opportunity for us this year. So thank you for like giving us that perspective. And I think the hope that a lot of photographers definitely need right now.
I think if you're one of the things I know in grief counseling, but also in manifestation, is that you cannot manifest in fear.
Mhm.
Right. You law of attraction, you attract that which you are. So if you feel the economy is shit and nobody's doing it, you're going to start to attract people around you that are like, oh, everything's shit, the world sucks. And your clients are going to be kind of like that too. And we don't want those people. I mean, they're hard. I mean, they're hard to deal with. And
Mhm.
so if we want to be, attract our ideal clients and know there is abundance out there. You know that, I know that there's always abundance. Even in times of war, there's abundance. Like there is always opportunities and we can tap into that, but you must create safety for yourself before that happens. So if you are in dire need, if you can't pay your bills, if you're having problems with rent, then you need to do something that helps you to feel safe in that way.
Mhm.
Maybe you can downsize, maybe you can offer some mini sessions, maybe you can get super creative and notice who else is out there. Hard to be creative when you're not in safety either, right? We're in that kind of that lower level of Maslow's hierarchy of needs where we're just trying to pay our bills. And I've been there. So I hate when I'm on like people are like, oh, money doesn't buy you everything. Money buys you safety, just so you know, right?
Mhm.
And so if you're getting that problem, if you have that problem, it's where can you then move into service or a place of safety for yourself where you're then either, getting a loan or getting a grant, but then going out there and serving your audience and finding that part of you that wants to help people in the world and bringing in, I always say, open up avenues for money to come into your world,
Mhm.
right? Money can't come in if you don't have any avenues open. And so
Yeah.
just put out on social media, I'm open to supporting, or I'm open to, or I have photography. I also feel like someone here needs to hear this. It keeps coming in, spirit keeps saying, say it, is that documenting transitions in people's lives are also really important. So like even divorce paper, when someone gets divorced, documenting their coming out into the world and
Yeah.
beautiful, or boudoir pictures, or things where people are moving through transitions and they're trying to document the last moments of someone's life. Like
Hmm.
those are very loving places to be in. And of course you have to hold special space if you're in that.
Yeah.
But it is something I think that is not very talked about or tapped into, because I don't see any photographers talking about that stuff.
You're
Right.
so right. I love that you brought this up. I just got goosebumps because I once photographed uh a client that I was gonna photograph her wedding, and she told me her mom was in hospital
Mm-hmm.
passing away. She couldn't even end up coming to the wedding. And right away, I was just like, I need to document their last moments together, because even though they're hard and they're in the hospital, these are actual moments they're still sharing. And these,
Yes.
like, I'm like, I have to. And I offered it for free just because I wanted to. And
Mm-hmm.
then I documented that. And she is like forever grateful for that. And like, I know it sounds so like weird to even think about maybe even specializing in that or niching in that or offering that as a service, sharing that on Instagram. But you just saying that just probably gave some photographers like really great ideas. And you're right. I don't see that niche anywhere. And that would be so special for people, because I think it's even like those people that are dealing with that transition of someone close to them passing away, they might even just need the permission slip of, it's okay to have this documented, because they might feel like it's morbid or like no one does this. I don't see people taking photos of this. It feels inappropriate to have photos taken in the hospital right now
Mm-hmm.
and in this moment. But what if you did document that for others, like, and share that that's okay if that's what their heart desires? I think that's very beautiful and powerful.
Yeah. And especially I think
Yeah.
in moments where transitions are a choice, where
Mm.
it's the most compassionate choice. I know of many that have opted for MAID, medical assistance in dying. And because what was ahead was just so awful and scary. And so even documenting MAID opportunities, like there's a
Yeah.
lot of love and everyone coming around with conscious intention and a lot of grief, right? So you have
Yeah.
to be a very special photographer to be able to hold space in grief, and
Mhm.
to not be uncomfortable with emotions. But I do feel you're right. I feel like somebody needs to hear this because it
Yeah.
keeps coming up. Talk about this. This is
Yeah.
needed. This is needed in the world. And it is a new category, I would say.
Yeah.
Like it's not
Totally.
something that has been talked about. And I think there's such a taboo on taking pictures or commemorating, not commemorating, it's not about trying to celebrate it, but more, well, it could be celebrating it, but more so remembering and honoring the beauty of transitions,
Yeah.
because they are just moving into spirit. We call it, take them to the spirit world in mediumship. So we're just transitioning into spirit, but it is such a hard moment for the living, right?
Yeah. Wow, that's
So
beautiful. Beautiful share.
yeah,
Do you
who
feel,
knew?
yeah, who
Who
knew?
knew? Talk about numerology. We talk
Yeah,
about dead. So I actually have numerology for each month for the year as
perfect.
well,
Yeah.
which will help us to navigate the energies. So each month, obviously, like January is a 0, 1. So we add that to the 8 and we get a 9 month. So throughout the year, we will go through the
Oh,
entire cycle for the whole cycle of 1 to 9.
yeah.
And knowing that, you will feel the energy of things and you'll understand why you're experiencing what you are. So and I'm going to kind of overlay this a little bit with the astrology as well, so
Uh-huh.
that way everybody I don't, we could be talking for like 7 hours, I'm sure,
Yeah.
and we still wouldn't cover all the things.
Yeah, of
But
course.
in January we started off with a Mercury retrograde, and so Mercury is the planet of our communication, our thought processing, our mind. And so whenever the planet of our mind is going slower than the earth, we call that a retrograde. And so with that retrograde, we would have started off the year not feeling very motivated, not feeling wanting to move ahead. A lot of people were actually kind of mad at themselves that they didn't feel like it was time to get up and go. And if you're following me, I'm like, you will not feel like that until the first new moon of the year, which was only 2 weeks ago, right? So we're taping this on January 25th, right? So that this energy is now picking up, right? And
Mm.
tomorrow, the last retrograde planet is going to go direct. So we are going to be in full-fledged momentum next month, but not right now, right?
Mhm.
January, things are starting to pick up now, but it's not, we didn't enter this year feeling like we're going to go full speed ahead. It's a 9 year. There's a lot of culmination,
8 year,
celebration.
right?
Sorry, it's a 9 month.
Oh,
Yeah.
9 month.
Yeah.
Yes.
9 months. Sorry. So thank you for
Yeah.
that. Yeah. It's an 8 year. You're right. And so
Mhm.
that's the abundance. But in January, we're going to feel that 8 in the 9 part of the cycle, which is completion and endings. So
Mhm.
we were feeling, and I was hearing this from so many of my clients in my community as well, is that we want to be so intentional moving into this year that we don't want to just make willy-nilly kind of things. And as a 9, you're not starting new things right now, right?
Yeah.
So anyone in launch right now is finding that the launches are okay, they're going okay. I mean, there's people that are wanting to learn and stuff. And then again, using the messaging around that sort of abundance and mindset and being so intentional with how you're using your resources, because we're this is a 9 month. So
Yeah.
we're
And
sort of taking
by
stock.
launches, maybe we'll say
Oh,
like
yes,
with your offerings, like if
that's
you're
right.
trying to start something brand new from scratch that you haven't offered yet as a photography service, maybe it's like like maybe expand on that perspective.
Yeah, offering new offerings, or putting out your marketing, or
Hmm. In a
trying to,
different way. It's
yeah,
like it's the 9 is the completion. So it's like everything that has like you've done in the past already and has worked, like continue to put that out there and then you'll reap the benefits, right? That's what,
correct. Yeah,
yeah,
and I
yeah,
think that's what we were just talking about, like
yeah,
even a membership I just launched. It was like I refined it and launched it again
yeah.
and called in amazing people into it.
That is so fascinating that you're saying this because I literally in the last 2 weeks, I had such clarity on me wanting more wedding bookings this year than I thought I wanted last year. And I was like, oh, I have this many for this year so far. That means I'm only 1/3 of the way booked. That means I want more. And I just like hit the gas on everything that I know works marketing wise for me. And in 2 weeks, I booked 8 weddings,
Wow.
2 for 2025, 6 for 2024. And that made me almost fully booked now for 2024.
Wow.
And it was that energy that you're talking about. It's like, yeah, everything that I've known for the like that works. I
Yes.
implemented it and it provided. Like,
Yes. And see,
yeah.
that's like flowing with the energy. I think
Hmm.
this is where if we understand, I mean, you just naturally felt it as the energy
Yeah.
started to come back. You're like refining and just doing more of what you did in the past that made you successful
Hmm.
is the energy of the 9, right? So that's January. And you're going to notice that energy is going to come back again in October. That's another
Mm.
9. So whatever you kind of refined and did and felt like you saw a lot of success for, bringing that back in October is going to be really supportive for you. So yes, that's
That's
something to know.
this is like so good. I'm so excited right now. This just made so many connections in my mind for stuff. Okay. Thank you for that.
Strategy, right? Like I
Yeah.
love strategy and
Yeah.
understanding, and then using the energy to create the strategy and then seeing how it goes. Like
Yeah.
as entrepreneurs, we are in a giant experiment anyway. And I mean,
All
as a
yeah.
human, you are in a giant experiment. Like no
Yeah.
one's done what you're doing, So like let's sort it out as we go. So
Yeah. So
then
for those of you listening, try to take it from the perspective of like every time she mentions a theme in a month, just think, okay, that's the theme. How can I amplify that energy through ways I approach doing business? Like just
yes,
play with that
I
in
love
your
that you said
mind.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And do it in your marketing, do it in the way that you talk to people, do it
Hmm.
in like the ways that you're offering things. So even in the 9 month, you might want to document, help people document as photographer, all the ways that they have been successful, or
Mm.
documenting the success in their life, or things that have come to culmination, or relationships, or something they're celebrating, really marketing that celebration. And not to say that you have to book it in this month, but
Hmm.
it is the energy that people will be like, yes, I do want to celebrate. Yes, I want to.
Yeah.
Oh, we have the 60th birthday coming up. Let's have a photographer document this beautiful party and have these wonderful
Yeah.
memories forever.
Or
Right.
even branding photographers, you can, an idea came to mind. You can suggest, like, hey, did you reach a milestone in your business? Like, do a branding session, celebrate that, and
Yes.
then, like, continue the momentum and keep growing. But you have these branded photos to help you elevate and continue to
Yes.
grow. Yeah.
I would buy that.
Yeah.
I would buy that.
See,
Well
guys,
done.
take that messaging, put it out there on
Yes.
Instagram.
That's so good. So then February is going to be a 1 month. And so
Mm-hmm.
this is now new beginnings and the self, bringing back the energy to ourselves and how we feel about ourselves. And what are we now wanting to put out or create in the world? So February is going to be a very introspective month. And it's normally the Pisces month too, which is a time of spiritual growth, transcendence, quiet time. We don't feel really outwardly like go, go, go
Mm-hmm.
in the energy of the astrology with it. So it makes sense. It's also a 1 month, which is so, I just love how it all kind of synchronizes together
Yeah.
and it's all the same. So that beginnings of self and those new kind of new things starting. So trying something new, or maybe even just going really deeply within you as to what do you truly want? Like it's almost like the
Mm.
beginning of your year now, because it's a one. You're setting intentions of how you want to create now. What's the new beginnings that you want to intentionally start? And that same energy is going to come in November.
Mm.
So knowing that whatever the themes are coming up in February, we'll feel that again in November too.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, this
We'll
makes
go
so
from
much
there.
sense. Every November, I'm like so introspective. I like get offline fully and just feel so grounding. Like,
Mm.
that's fascinating.
And then March is a 2 month. So this is about partnership and balance. So wanting to have this, connection with others and also finding that balance with life and work and joy and play or work, because her joy and work, fun and work, but also spiritual and material, coming back to that 8-year theme of like, there's abundance there, but work, 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 and it's money is also in the two. So we want to make sure that we're balancing the self-care side of things too. And then partnerships. There might be some opportunities to leverage some partnerships or collaborations or affiliations at this time
Mhm.
with people who are doing kind of cool things. So, what popped in from Spirit is like if there's events happening around the city, you might want to approach and say, you know what, I'd love to take some photos for this, or let's do a collaboration. I'll help you fill the event if you pay me for pictures or whatever it is, right?
Mhm.
So there can be collaborations to kind of get your name out there and be more out at events. And even at that point, then when you're taking pictures of people, you could even get their names and then send them the pictures as part of the collaboration. And then
Yeah.
they're on your mailing list, right?
Yeah.
So lots of ways to do that. And then April is, I should also say with March, we're coming into the Aries new year. So it's something as an astrologer, I always celebrate. That's my proper new year, where the sun moves into the zodiac sign of Aries, which is the sun, the fire coming back. Spring equinox is what we call it in regular society. And that's
Right.
spring coming back, right? Like that is when we used to celebrate the new year until the Pope brought in the Gregorian calendar. But
Wow.
yeah, so that is
Interesting.
the return
Wow.
of the light and having, well, I mean, the return of the light is technically winter solstice, but
Yeah.
the spring energy coming back and that fire of Aries, there's a lot of like initiation and wanting to go and get up and lots of things happening then. So March is going to be a time where we're feeling like the energy is coming back again and we're ready to get going. And
Mhm.
then we're going to experience that two energy again in December, which
Mhm.
is interesting, but it's not the get up and go energy, because in December, the planet that rules Aries, Mars, is going retrograde. And that retrograde is it's our motivation, desire, our energy, our fire to, our passion of purpose. And so we're going to start off 2025 with Mars retrograde. So it's going to be a time where people are not going to be motivated to move forward. So if you are somebody who are, as my mom used to say, make hay while the sun shines, you are not going to want to be so busy or try to make more offerings or try to call in more clients in December and January. And so December
Mhm.
of 2024 and then January 2025. So knowing that energy, people are going to be way more introspective than this year. And that
Mhm.
Mars doesn't go forward until February 23rd of 2025.
Mm.
So we're going to have that period of 3 months where we're really going to be understanding what lights us up, what is our motivation, where is our passion and purpose, and are we doing the things that are really in alignment with that. So knowing that for those 3 months, you are wanting to probably fill your calendar before then.
Mhm.
And if you have any offerings or anything exciting you want to put out or try, you might want to do that definitely before December. So
Mm.
yeah, really just having that full on if push in terms of like your last kind of hurrah for the year in November, and then try to like take time off,
Yeah.
especially in the end of December, beginning of January. You're definitely going to want to be very introspective and conscientious of your energy during that time. So
Amazing.
Interesting. So I'm
Yeah.
excited. I'm excited and not because I've got a lot of fire in my constitution. And so I want to like
Always just, I'm the same
go
way. When I hear introspection, I'm like, okay, it's great. I could do it for 2 days, but then I
journal.
want to just keep going.
Yeah. But at the end of the year this year and the beginning of last year and this year, that was a time I was really quiet. Like I really
Mhm.
cocooned, and it's so interesting. I didn't want to see anybody. I don't
Yeah.
want to do anything. Even my besties are like, Sheetal, you're not returning my text. So like I just need time. Just leave me alone. And
Yeah.
I just like curled up on the couch and watched, Hallmark movies. Like I just wanted to disengage, right?
Yeah.
And part of that was a bit burnout, but the rest of it was that energy of such that quietness and Mercury retrograde. So it was very interesting when you start to notice those things about yourself and then noticing the correlation with the astrology. It's
Hmm.
meant to be, but I feel like so many people make themselves wrong for it or get mad that they're not, up and running, or why can't I get myself
Yeah.
going? And I was like, that's not the energy right now.
Yeah.
Right. So noticing that. And then April is the only 3 months this year. So
Mhm.
April is about communication and self-expression. And
Mm.
so that communication, this is a great time to write a blog or to get things out there. If you want to start a podcast, really communicating to your community. And 3 is also about community too. So really being out with community and making connections with the people in your community, creating your own community, right?
Mm.
Why not?
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah.
Abundance. What are you seeing that's not available in the world? Maybe you're starting your own little photographers guild, in your city, and sort of bringing people together to talk about business and what are some of the innovative ways. Like that would be really wonderful for April.
Hmm.
And then May is 4, it's a 4 month. And so 4 is about foundations and work. And so that 4 is really about creating so much structure that is very safe. 4 is also family too, where we want to connect and make sure that our inner foundations are family, and that we are sort of really strong. So this is a great one to really go over your systems and
Hmm.
wonder, fix anything that has been broken, or just noticing, like as you mentioned with editing, you have
Hmm.
a system with your editor. Maybe there's a way that you can refine and make that better too.
Hmm.
And then June is about freedom and change. It's a 5 month. And so there's going to be some shifts in June that are going to shake your foundations a little bit, but also invite you into more introspection and more inspiration. More inspiration. So, really being tapped into why things are changing, what is changing around you, and how is it affecting you. Right.
Hmm.
So if you feel sad, the things are leaving, it's okay. Be allowed to be in grief, allowed to say goodbye with gratitude for everything that's leaving. And then the June freedom piece of it is like you want to explore, you want to be free, you want to do things that really
Hmm.
light your heart up. So there's some things that are going to have to leave your life with that.
Hmm.
And then July is a 6 month. So relationships and healing. And in July, we're going to feel more of this energy of wanting to be in connection with others, and also where connections with others are triggering us, where we're just not feeling so aligned with some of the people in our life. And what is that bringing up for us in terms of why? Are we
Hmm.
people pleasers? Are we people that feel belonging? Do we give up our own sense of self-worth to belong? Where are you negotiating your self-worth so that you can be in relationships and connection? And how can you heal that then allows you to bring in more aligned relationships?
Hmm.
So there's some healing really needed with that. And then August, August is a 7th month, and August is about spirituality and sacred calling. And that spirituality, it's the summer months here in North America, so we all tend to be on sabbatical, going and exploring and doing things out into the world and having summer vacation and just being lighter. The energy of August is also like Leo, Libra, where we're just really wanting to be in connection with others, but also this fire of exploration and creativity, and wanting to just understand what is your true sacred calling. I think we're going to go through that because 2025 has so many planets changing signs that we're going to need to know who we are by the end of this year.
The fact that you mentioned that, okay, so think about it this way so in the photography community, I mean, every like location in the world has different wedding seasons, but here in Ontario, for example, ours is May to October, like the main wedding season month. And I noticed by August, when you don't have those photographers that don't have their systems in place to like work smarter, get support through outsourcing, all of that, they end up starting to already hit burnout and overwork, and their queue is like getting longer and longer and longer. Their to-do list is getting longer and longer. And this is fascinating because if this is the month where we're meant to feel more like connecting to our spirituality, connect exploration, creativity, that means that in order for us to tune into that, we need spaciousness. And so no wonder if photographers are consistently hitting burnout year after year after year, it compounds. And over time, we can be like either resentful to our business, either like totally like lost, like, wait, who am I? Like, did I lose myself in the process? Like, this is like you saying that just like kind of clicked for me of the compound effect of that.
Love it. You're so right. You know, you have to have that spaciousness, but it's September or August, sorry, August is a month where you tend to be so busy. But with that sacred calling and spirituality, we also have a Mercury retrograde that month. So there is going to be some tech glitches. There's going to be some really, Mercury is about understanding why we're doing what we're doing and refining, reviewing, reassessing, and realigning our processes. So there's going to be a lot of, like you said, there's a lot of awareness around how can I make things a little better, and am I doing things in the way that I feel it feels really good for you. So really tuning into how are you feeling throughout the month and what feels good and what doesn't, and then how can we start to minimize or change things, you know, as James says, so delegate, dad
Either delete, automate, or delegate.
There you go. Yeah. Or just do it. Right.
Dad it.
Yeah. Dad it.
Yeah.
So sometimes I always forget that. I just remember the acronym. So then we move into September. It's about money and power. It's an 8. So here's an 8 year with an 8 month, and it's the only 8 month of this year. So there's a real amplification of that money, abundance, power, success, right? So we're going to be busy in September, right? So busy. And we have a really interesting thing happening in September. It's a full moon eclipse, but it's in Pisces. So it's now going to bring us awareness, North Node, which is our karmic destiny, where we are heading to. And this is happening on September 17th. So this September 17th is bringing us a glimpse into the next year and what our karmic destiny is. What are we moving towards? So you might find that some things are coming up for you around that time, very emotional or very intuitive. It's a very sensitive, it's the most sensitive sign of the zodiac is Pisces. So September is going to bring up for you where, you know, money, power, success, all the things, but also what is no longer lighting you up. Like you will see it full on. What do you need to let go of now for true abundance to come into your life? And then where is this taking you? So you're going to get a glimpse of what is going to happen for 2025. There's a theme coming up for you during that month. So pay attention to the nuances in your life and noticing what's falling away and what feels like it truly lights you up.
Amazing.
And then as we move into October, we are coming into a 9 month yet again, right? So there's that January theme of culminations, completions coming into this, what we're feeling now in January. And December is partnerships and balance. So again, that's a 2, right? So coming into balance, harmony, and it's going to be a very quiet time. It's not a time where you're going to be out into the world and feeling like do all the things, and you might want to party, you know, you might want to be celebrating and being in partnerships, but your motivation is going to be coming under some deep introspective scrutiny as to what is it that you truly desire now out of life.
So, amazing. Oh my gosh.
The wins of
I just took a shit ton of notes of like that I'm going to refer to, like the keywords. I hope you guys listening, like just like rewind this, note it down. Like it's so fascinating. And I'm just so excited to continue to see, because I've been interested in tuning into kind of like the daily astrological forecast for the past like maybe 6 weeks or so for me personally. And I'm just like noticing how it's a tool for me to understand what's coming in what could pop up in the day. And when it does, I actually know how to calmly react to it and it's like I choose instead of like, this is happening to me. It's so fascinating. So I'm just getting started with this. And like, Sheetal, you just did an amazing job. Just explain. I'm totally nerding out right now. And I know others are listening and nerding out about it too. So thank you so much for sharing all of this. And I hope you guys listening got some creative ideas too. I know for sure you guys did. And Sheetal, I understand you have a resource that you're excited to talk about. For those that want to like dive in deeper and go like the next level into understanding this world and seeing how they can use it as a tool for themselves, let us know about this resource that you have for them.
Yes, I have an astrology for 2024 workshop that I did. Actually turned out to be 3 hours long, and it comes with a wonderful handout that explains everything, and you can take your notes. And I explain the year and the months by astrological transits, which are the way that the planets are moving through our sky, and what that means for planet Earth during those months. So I really outline the new moons, the full moons, and where to set intentions in your life. How does the energy work? The Mercury retrogrades, what does that mean, in deeper detail for you? And so if you want to learn more about that, the workshop is now pre-recorded because I did it at the beginning of January, and it's 97 Canadian dollars, and you own it for life, and you get the handout with it as well. It's a great resource. I see so many of my clients opening the link and going back and checking it throughout the year as well. So it's something it just gives you back for the rest of the year. And it really encourage you to create your own experiment and your own book of evidence about how this energy, the numerology, works for you. Because whether you believe in it or not, it's acting on you. It's like gravity, right? You don't have to believe in it. It's still always working on you. So what if you were conscious to it and you got to use it with intention and purpose, like you said, with choice, right?
Yeah.
Changes your life. It really does.
I love that you said create your own book of evidence. That was like so powerful. Mic drop. Like so cool. And it becomes like your little like I don't know how to put it into words, but like your little like life manual of like
Yes.
this resonates with me. I like this. I tried this. Okay, I'm gonna keep that. I tried this. It didn't really resonate.
That's
Okay, I'm
right.
gonna let that go. Like create your own little like life manual. That
Yeah.
yeah, that's so fun.
So
And
true.
where can everybody connect with you, find you?
So I am at www.sheetalstory.com, SheetalStory, but you can see it in the show notes. And
Yeah.
then I'm on Instagram and Facebook. I have a business page on Facebook, but if you really want to interact with me, Instagram, I am always on, well, not always, but I'm on there quite a bit. I love, like I said, I'm an extrovert. So I am
Yeah.
very social on social media. It really lights me up. And I love connecting with everybody. And I do an astro forecast every week on Mondays. I release it. If you're on my newsletter, you get it on Sundays. And if you follow me on YouTube, then you get it on Sundays as well. And it prepares you for the week ahead with the transits. So I do a little video. If you're a video person, you can watch that. And on social media, I always talk about the new moon and full moon and 3 opportunities, ways that you can use that energy to. I'm all about practical, right? What can
Oh,
you
that's
do with
amazing.
this? Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. Okay, well, her Instagram will be linked in the show notes as well as the workshop. That sounds amazing. And thank you so much, Sheetal. I'm so happy you brought
Thank
this
you.
like perspective to the podcast. Yeah, I'm so grateful for your time and so happy we connected.
Thank you for having me. This has been so joyful. If you want to do this every year, I'm game. Like, this is so much fun. I
So
absolutely
true.
love you. And I'm so excited to get to spend the year with you.
Me
So
too.
thank you. Thank you for bringing me on and introducing me to your beautiful audience. I
Of
appreciate
course. Yay! Thank you so much for hanging out with me and tuning into this episode. If you got value out of it, please feel free to message me on Instagram at Sarah Monica Photo. That's Sarah no H, Monica with a K photo, to let me know. I get so freaking energized hearing from others that what I've said has had a positive impact on their lives. Also, make sure to hit subscribe to the Shine and Thrive podcast to never miss an episode. I'm so grateful for you, and I'm sending you all the productive vibes your way so you have the best week ever.